What's up, guys? This is the Honest Outlaw here, and today we are going to be doing a full review of the Canik TP9SF V2. Mine's in flat dark earth, hopefully yours is too. I really like this color. I like black guns as well, don't get me wrong, I'm not a gun racist. But I just flat dark earth, you know, for the same price, that works really well for me. I like this color. I always felt like lighter colors on firearms blend in better to your surroundings. Black has its advantage for sure in firearms because it looks scary right off the bat, and that's a nice thing to have, honestly. You don't want to pull out your firearm in a defensive situation and have the other person think it's a toy. I mean, hopefully you can scare them away in advance. So flat dark earth to me is a plus right away. But we're not going to talk about the color. We're here to talk about the firearm. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this firearm. I'm going to tell you what I think of it. I'm going to go through some categories that I normally do as a gun reviewer to tell you how much I like this gun, first of all. And a lot of this video is going to be personal preference. There's going to be some facts in there as well. I have shot, over 500 rounds for sure. I didn't really keep track of how many rounds I fired to this, but it was 100% reliable. So that's pretty awesome. But I fired quite a few rounds for this, and I did that so I can give you my personal opinions on the firearm, what I think of it, what I think about it compared to some of its competitors, and help you decide whether or not this firearm is for you. So, what would you use this pistol for? Well, the first thing I can think of is just a good all-around handgun. And what does that mean? It means basically this is a full-size 9mm pistol. It holds 18 rounds. Size is about very similar to kind of an M&P, honestly. It's about the same grip angle or grip length as a Glock 17, but I think Glock 17's barrel is a little bit longer. Or they're about exactly the same. So yeah, so the size is about the same to a Glock 17. I think this would be a great choice for home defense. It would be a pretty good choice for concealed carry as well if you like carrying a bigger gun. Even though it's a full-size firearm, it's only 2 ounces heavier than a Glock 17. Comes in at about 1 pound 13 ounces. The barrel length is 4.5 inches in length. The bore axis is relatively short. As you can see there, you can choke way up on the firearm, and that does a couple things for you. Number one, it shortens the overall length of the grip, which helps you conceal the gun a little bit better. And I know that this is a big point of controversy, but in my opinion, it does help the overall muzzle flip of the firearm. The other thing it does also is it allows the sights to be a little bit lower to your eyes, so if you're used to shooting that M&P Glock 17 style of bore axis, it won't feel awkward to you. As far as reliability goes, this is, again, my only source for this. As you guys know, if you watched the first impressions video, this is the only Canik I've ever owned. But as far as reliability goes, this firearm itself has been 100%. I've also heard good things about other Caniks online, but I don't have any other experience with them besides just this particular Canik right here. This Canik was even used when I originally got it, so it's very impressive that it's 100%. I did not oil it or clean it through the entire testing because sometimes I just like to do that as a gun reviewer. I don't recommend you do that at home, but I do know some people who do that. And sometimes I just like to test a gun, especially a gun of this price point, to really see what it can handle. And the reliability and durability of this pistol, in my opinion, has been absolutely excellent. On par with the M&P, Glock, SIG 320, that tier of guns. So reliability and durability are amazing. The track record on this pistol, even though this is a new version of this pistol, other TP9s are out there, the DA versions, the single action only versions, and they have a pretty good track record, so I would have to give the track record on this pretty good. It'd have to be out for a couple more years for me to really say it's excellent, but as far as that goes, it's pretty good. One of the major selling points that I want to get into about this pistol, and I want to get into it kind of right off the bat, is price. We talk a lot about budget pistols. You know, you've got your high points kind of on the low end of stuff. You've got your Witness 9mm. Those are pretty good for the money. You've got the FMK I've heard that you can get good ones of those. I've heard you can get bad ones of those. But as far as I did a review on that. I got an excellent version of that pistol apparently, because it was almost 100%. I think we had one malfunction with that pistol, but for the price point, I kind of let that slide, especially with good ergonomics. A couple things I didn't like. Now the difference between those budget pistols and this budget pistol is, in my opinion, you aren't sacrificing anything other than the US made portion of this firearm. Other than this being made out of the country in Turkey, you aren't losing anything by buying this pistol over other pistols like this Glock 17, for example. This is not a stock Glock 17, but pretend that it is, and this would run you about $550. Okay, now this is kind of the gold standard for pistols. I know a lot of people don't like saying that, but it is, And this is running around, even this flat dark earth version can be had at, I think, Prepper Gun Shop for $349. That to me is ridiculous. I just can't believe that it's that cheap. When I originally was thinking about reviewing this, I had a bunch of my subscribers say you should get the Canik, you should get the Canik TP9SF, and I'm like, okay, but me, from my experience, and especially the gun community, a lot of times you get what you pay for. So if I see a $300 gun, I get my excuse book out and I get prepared to make excuses for some of the downfalls of this pistol. Because for $350, that's half price some of the mainstream pistols. I expect to have some problems. I just don't see any. I don't see any with this pistol for this price point anyway. We're going to kind of mix ergonomics and price here a little bit, because I want to talk about some of the things you get with this $350 pistol. So with this price point, you get some pretty excellent sights right off the bat. I do like the white line on it. It looks a little jumbled, but the white line's pretty nice. Either way, they're nice sights. I mean, if you compare this to the CZ-P09 that I had, probably one of my favorite polymer guns ever, if not my favorite, these sights are better than that. If you look at the grip angle and the overall bore axis, also pretty excellent. You have your little loaded indicator switch there. You get that as well if you're into that. I don't really care if a gun has that or not. You get the flat dark earth coloring. You get a pretty decent mag release. The mag changes on this pistol are excellent. As you can see there, it's coated with some kind of slicked up coating. I honestly didn't look into it, but it makes the magazine seat really, really easily, which is, it's an amazing feature for a gun of this price. The magazines are also excellent. The trigger in itself, as you can see there, it's got a little bit of take up, and it's got a really clean, short break. The trigger weight is not that heavy. In my opinion, this trigger is better than a Glock or a stock M&P for that matter. Probably not on the par of like a SIG 320 or something like that, but the trigger is extremely good. In the top 10%, I would say, of polymer guns. And again, for $350, that is extremely impressive. The recoil of the firearm is also pretty reasonable. I would say it's on par with probably the Glock. I think the M&P has a little bit less recoil. So does probably the Arsenal Strike 1 CZ-P09. But the recoil is definitely manageable, probably average compared to most polymer pistols. So the weight is excellent. The width is pretty excellent. It's thinner than the SIG 320. That's pretty excellent. It has interchangeable back straps on it, as you can see there. So as far as I can say, the grip is pretty good. It's got decent grip texturing. I would prefer a little bit more. If I were going to be keeping this pistol, I would put probably grip tape on it or grip texturing. This pistol, by the way, is on loan from Johnson's Guns and More. Thank you for letting me borrow this for the review and totally changed my mind on Caniks. But for the money, I would say that the ergonomics are outstanding. They're on par with any other pistol that I've tried, especially for this price point. Now, one of the downsides of this pistol that you're going to have compared to some of the other mainstream pistols like the M&P or the Glock is parts accessibility, basically. First of all, these are made overseas. Second of all, they're not as popular as the Glock and the M&P, so you're not going to have as many aftermarket accessories. You're not going to be able to change every single thing on this pistol like you can do with a Glock. You can see here the different trigger, different color, different sights. You get what I mean. But you are going to have some out there. I watched James Yeager's video on this pistol, and he, I believe, said that the rear is a Glock rear and the front is an M&P front. Yeah, you're going to have to test that for yourself. I didn't test that. I thought the sights were fine as they are. I actually thought the pistol was fine as it was. I'm not too keen on upgrading budget pistols. As you guys know, if you've seen any of my pistols on my videos, I really, really like making the most out of a firearm. I don't always see the pistol for what it is. I see it for what it can be. When I see a Glock, I don't see the Glock that, you know, your average police officer carries. I see Bob Vogel's Glock. That's what I see. I see what you can do with it. But with something like this, a $300 to $350 pistol, I mean, if you're buying it because it's a budget handgun, why put extra money into it? If you really don't like the sights, really don't like the trigger, I understand it. But for my opinion, if you're going to buy a gun for $350, keep it the way it is. I mean, right now, this would probably be my preferred choice for a truck gun. As a matter of fact, I might buy this exact gun from Johnson's Guns & More just to make it my truck gun. One of the reasons I think it would be so good in that role is because a lot of people think of a truck gun like you need a SCAR or you need a Tavor or something like that. When I did my Tavor video, a lot of people were like, oh, you're going to use that as your truck gun. No, because it's $1,600. And if somebody breaks into my truck, I'm out $1,600. If it rusts, if something happens to it, if I wreck my truck, you know, you're out that money. This pistol is reliable, durable, accurate, and just all around user friendly, all for $350. So if somebody breaks in and steals this gun, I won't be out, you know, a unique firearm, like let's say my 1911, and I won't be out that much money to replace it. As far as accuracy goes, it's pretty exceptional. Again, for $350, I had no issues hitting out to 35, 50 yards with this pistol. So that's pretty impressive in my opinion. Honestly, guys, I would have to say that this is the best budget pistol that I've ever had my hands on. I don't think it can honestly get much better than this for the price that it is. There's no shortcuts taken as far as this pistol is gone, except for the fact that it's not made in America. I would prefer that it is. That's one of the reasons why I really like the M&P. But for me personally, if I meet a new shooter, which I've had several since I've had this firearm, I had them test it out, and this is actually the pistol that I recommend them to buy if they're on a budget. It would be a great truck gun. I wouldn't hesitate to use this for home defense, even though I have tons of other guns that could fill that role. I wouldn't carry it personally because it's a little bit bigger, but if you're one of those people that only own one gun instead of me when I own like 25, you know, I have choices. If you don't, you could carry this, you could make do. You could easily inside the waistband carry this. If you're in a state where it's legal to outside the waistband carry, you could do that as well. I don't recommend that because I'm always been worried about somebody stealing my firearm. But yeah, you could totally do it. I would give this gun a solid 9 out of 10 for its price point. You'd almost have to give it a 10 out of 10. Thanks, guys. Please like and subscribe if you like the video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the description below. Try to be nice. Please help out your local homeless shelters and remember to recycle. Check you later. Seems like you like it.
I'm not out, but I'm on fire, motherfuckers.